Okay, I don't know who still needs this alert signal, but if you're imagining some French craftsman in white gloves carefully assembling your $3,500 purse in a Parisian workshop while sipping espresso and humming Edith Piaf, you've been fooled that fantasy, it's gone. Because right now, Chinese factories are reportedly halting all Louis Vuitton production after LVMH sued them for revealing the truth. That's right. The same people sewing the bags. Allegedly, they exposed the secrets of the entire operation.
You recognize this style, this bag? Of course you do. For the past more than 30 years, we have been OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world. Gucci, Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton, you name it. But for this, I am not proud because we were only making our wages. The profit margin for the people who are actually making the bags are very...
And instead of addressing issues, Louis Vuitton's parent company turned around and sued them like they were the culprits. Are you serious? Let me be crystal clear. I think this is what occurs when your whole empire is built on deception. You sell luxury, but you produce like Zara. You want the world to see champagne, silk, and exclusivity. But behind the scenes, it's sweat machines and muted workers with NDA contracts.
Most of them are made in China, and most of them are made in our factory. Yeah, I'm telling you. But why these luxury brands never tell you that? Because they are trying to pretend to be products of some sophisticated European countries like Italy or France.
We are going to be successful. In a few weeks, the shop was open. We sell the most expensive products in a country where everybody was going by bicycle.
Or a slowdown and a contraction in the global luxury market. About 50 million people either opted out or were forced out of the luxury market over the past 2 years.
I do feel people started to get tired of purchasing products and realize that we just bought too much. And it didn't really make us happy.
And now that the silence is broken, the entire house of cards is trembling personally. I think they hoped fear would keep the facts buried, but it misfired, and the workers who helped build their empire just ignited it. So let's dive into the real. These Chinese manufacturers who've been crafting Louis Vuitton items for years allegedly said enough.
A little over 1 square foot of vaqueta leather came out. 2 different finishes. The best vaqueta leathers in the market is $7, $8. At their level, let's give them $10. And you need 2 square foot. So $20 for the leather, $5 for the materials, inner linings, fabrics, authentication, chip, and $10 for the...
Cost steel less than 60 euros to make a handbag that it sells for nearly 3,000 euros. That's what Italian authorities found out when they raided factories making products for Dior and other fashion brands like...
Okay, let's go.
They didn't just share whispers, they posted videos, screenshots, factory records. They revealed cost breakdowns where LV was allegedly paying less than $100 to make a bag they were selling for $3,000 on plus. Let that sink in, they exposed the markups, the profits, the entire fake glam economy. And the worst part, this wasn't some random post on Reddit. This was deliberate. It was bold. It was unapologetic.
Birkin bag at Hermes boutique will cost you 38,000 USD. But what is the real cost out of the factory? Today, I'm going to break it down in front of you step by step. First thing first, Hermes only use the leathers from the 3 top-level suppliers. One is called Nuti from Italy. And the second is Weinheim from Germany. And the third is Haas from France. One piece of Togo leather, the same leather as this one, will cost 450 USD. And one piece of the leather is only enough to make 1 Birkin, okay? The thread. And of course, for Hermes Birkin, the thread is also the best top level. It's called Fil al Chinois from France. This is actually the Rolls Royce in thread. For each bag, the cost is 25 USD. And then the hardware. See, this hardware is called 316 hardware. It's also known as the ocean stainless steel because it can withstand the erosion of seawater. It's the best stainless steel. For one piece of bag, the hardware will cost 150 USD. The edge oil. This edge oil is imported from Italy. It's called It Seal edge oil. For each bag, it will cost 50 USD. The interior lining, it used lambskin imported from France. Each bag, the cost will be 100 USD. And also inside, there is a zipper from Riri brand. And the zipper for one bag is 10 USD.
I think they aim to show the world that the entire brand is a facade and overpriced act. And instead of tackling any of it, LVMH did what corporate giants always do when trapped. They pulled out the lawyers, they said, "You broke our secrecy rules." But let's be honest, those rules were likely designed to shield lies, not secrets. And now that those lies are out, there's no locking this back in the vault. And this is where it gets utterly wild. The manufacturers allegedly responded to the lawsuit by fully stopping production, like not slowing down, not renegotiating, just done zero output assembly lines, shut off bulk orders, canceled factories, closed their gates, and said, "You want war, fine." And the Impact Instant stores couldn't restock. Product launches got delayed. Even the so-called elite clients couldn't get their hands on classic pieces. I think this caught Louis Vuitton completely off guard. They were so used to being invincible, they forgot how fragile their whole supply chain really is when you treat the people making your product like they're invisible. Don't be shocked when they vanish, This wasn't just retaliation. It was a signal, a warning. You can't sell what we don't make. And the irony, the brand that was so obsessed with control just lost all of it overnight. Then came the online storm the moment this hit. TikTok game over creators were analyzing bags, stitching designs, hardware placements, even lining textures and matching them to items on Alibaba. And not in theory, in real time, side-by-side videos that proved you could buy a nearly identical bag for $89, while LV was charging a $4 000 tag. It was like watching luxury branding collapse in 4K. But what really stunned me, the influencers, even the ones who built their whole image on unboxing Louis Vuitton, were turning on the brand. Some were removing old posts, others were calling it fake wealth culture and the hashtag storms, brutal congrats, fake luxury. Not so, Vuitton. The story flipped overnight. I think once the spell was broken, people couldn't believe they'd fallen for it in the first place. You weren't buying a bag, you were buying a mirage. And now the mirage is trending. And you know what happens next. When a luxury brand's image tanks, the money bleeds fast. Word on the street is that LVMH's stock took a hit. Quiet internal memos went out. Retail managers were told to hold off on big promos. I even heard rumors that certain flagship stores started quietly discounting core pieces just to move stock. Let that sink in. Louis Vuitton discounting, that's like Chanel doing a BOGO sale. It doesn't happen unless their desperate resellers are panicking. The entire secondhand market relies on LV bags holding their value. And now that so-called investment piece is a gamble, people who bought 5 bags as assets are now sitting on thousands of dollars of what feels like branded liabilities, and I think this is just the start. If consumer trust keeps falling, and I believe it will, we're going to see a domino effect. Collectors will pull back, prices will crash, and Louis Vuitton might go from iconic to ironic. Real quick, this isn't just a Louis Vuitton issue anymore. It's a luxury industry crisis waiting to happen. I think every major fashion house is in full damage control mode right now. You think Dior is resting easy after this? You think Fendi isn't. Triple checking every factory contract they've got. And don't even get me started on Balenciaga. After the PR disasters they've already had, they cannot afford another crack in the base. But guess what? The cracks are already there if one group of factory workers can expose Louis Vuitton's whole operation and spark global outrage. I think the rest of these brands are scared they're next, because here's the harsh truth. No one in fashion wants to admit they're all doing the same thing. Mass production, fake scarcity, slapping on a logo and pretending it's handcrafted art. And now that illusion is crumbling, one reveal at a time. I think we're about to witness the biggest identity crisis the fashion world has ever faced. And designer tape won't fix this. So what's Louis Vuitton's next brilliant move? Sue the very people who've been creating their products. I mean, really, you sue the hands that literally built your brand and expect pity. No, what you get is a PR disaster. Because now, every time LVMH files a lawsuit, more files get leaked, more screenshots, more whistleblower videos, more chaos. It's like they're trying to plug a volcano with a cork, and every time they tighten their grip, the leaks just multiply. I think this is the kind of legal self-destruction only billion-dollar egos are capable of. They're so used to getting away with everything. They never thought that people might push back, and if your trade secrets include lying to your customer base. Sorry, but I think those secrets deserve to burn in the light. You can't call it defamation if it's the truth. This right here is the nail in the coffin, because this scandal didn't just reveal a business, it shattered a myth. People didn't just buy a Louis Vuitton bag for the leather or the hardware they bought into the dream. The story, the illusion that it meant something, that it represented class taste exclusivity. And now that illusion's gone, I think people feel like fools. They spent thousands, some even went into debt because they believed what the brand told them that it was worth it. And now they're learning their so-called investment was likely assembled for under $100 by underpaid workers in a factory no one was supposed to know about. That's not luxury. That's deception, and when a brand makes its customers feel foolish that trust is never coming back, not ever, honestly, I don't see how they recover. Not unless they pull off a complete overhaul, and let's be real, I don't think they have the courage for that, because true transparency would mean admitting how deep the deception went, and luxury brands don't apologize. They deflect, they rebrand, they gaslight. That's the whole business model. Could Louis Vuitton rebound? Technically. Sure, they've got money-influenced loyalists, but will they ever be seen the same again? I don't think so, because even if they patch this up on the surface, the seed of doubt has been planted. Every customer walking into a store now is wondering, was this bag made in some factory with a broken air conditioner and silenced workers? That's not luxury, that's a scandal waiting to be captured in a Netflix docuseries. Let's call it what it is. The end of the mirage. For decades, luxury brands convinced us that price equals value, that exclusivity equals worth, that if you pay more, you get more. But now we're learning that what you're really paying for is marketing hype, a dream designed in a boardroom and sold with fake scarcity and celebrity endorsements. I think people are waking up in droves. You don't need to spend $5,000 for a bag that costs $75 to produce. You don't need to worship brands that look down on you while profiting off your loyalty. And you definitely don't need to wear a logo, just to feel like you belong somewhere that's finished. The veil is lifting. And for once, I think the public might be ready to burn the whole illusion down and start anew. And that silence, it's louder than any apology. I think they know they pushed a lie. Maybe they didn't realize it at the time. But now that the truth is out, they can't defend it, because they'd be defending exploitation, they'd be defending greed, and they know their audience isn't buying the nonsense anymore. The silence isn't strategy, it's surrender. And honestly, that's the real tea. When even the influencers walk away, you know the brand is finished. So here's my final take. I think this isn't just a scandal, it's a downfall. We're watching the fall of a giant that built itself on lies and stitched them together with secrecy. And now the thread's been pulled, it's unraveling fast. What comes next might be the most honest chapter luxury fashion has ever seen, but only if we keep demanding answers, because if this is how Louis Vuitton ends, maybe it's also how real change begins.